All right, my friends, welcome back to another video. So we're going to go over today the BTC compression play, whether we think it's compression or whether we think it is actually setting up for a rejection at the range highs. It's a fairly interesting chart, and I'm going to cover sort of both bases for you. So stick around for that. I'm also going to cover USDT Dominance. We're going to have a look at ETH BTC, and some alts as well. So before we do that, please like, subscribe to the channel, and let's just hop straight into it. All right, let's start off with USDT Dominance because we have been covering it a bit. I keep saying it's a great barometer for being risk on or risk off, mainly because if USDT Dominance is going up, then the rest of the crypto market is going down. People are flowing back into stablecoins. Now, conversely, if it starts to go down and we see people flow out of stables back into risk assets, obviously going to see some pumps across the board. So each time we have retested it, we have pushed up. When I say up, I mean dominance has gone up, which means risk assets have gone down. Every retest we've come down into it, it probably looks like we're getting a pump across the board. People start to get bullish, and then obviously we just slam it back down and this continues up. So a bit difficult at the moment. We are just consolidating here. Once again, I just want to see a support resistance level held. I could actually extend this all the way back to the left, and this is a fairly high time frame support resistance. So at the moment, we're just chopping through it. We're not really testing it as support or resistance, just chopping. We are holding the trend. Right, so that's sort of the line in the sand here, these 2 points. Pretty much even this line alone, I'm just really just looking at the trend. Like if we just get rid of these lines here, you can see the trend is all we need. We don't really need to even worry about support resistance. But these are just 2 points I'm looking for where it has shown reactions in the past. These 2 horizontal lines here. All right, over to BTC, what I was discussing at the beginning of the video. So it's a fairly interesting chart when you just pull it back to a range and pull it back to value. So I get rid of the value area for a sec. You can see just from the range high to the range low, this is the range we're having, right? We came up, we front ran it, we came down, we swept under the range EQ, we got back above, tested it, sold off, tested it, sold off, tested it, sold off. Now, if I pull this back up, you can also see this is the value area. So just stretching this from where we broke below the yearly open all the way across, you can see how we've just bracketed between these 2 points. Obviously we had, it wasn't really developed here yet, but since we accepted back inside, we're respecting it fairly well. So what I also like about this is the range high lines up with the value area high. The range EQ lines up with the value area low. This says to me that this is the range in here right now, delineated by this arrow here. So really, this is the sort of place you can look for these rotations. Now, what I've also done is put an anchored VWAP from the bottom here. I think I have this on open, yep. So I generally have it on open as standard. You can also anchor it to lows, highs, depending on what you're looking for. But I generally look for open on most things. So you can see, we did deviate here, but so sort of bracketing between this point here and this guy up here. And this is an H4 200 EMA. This pretty much also lines up with my daily trend, the indicator I've been showing you guys in the past, the money noodle, but on the daily. So you got the sort of convergence of those 2 points there. Like I can go to the daily quickly. And you can see the daily trend, the daily noodle has just been capping price ever since, pretty much up here at 116K. Now we are just coming into this, and the past few videos I've made, right, have been we need to accept above this level, above the yearly open, which I don't actually have on the chart at the moment. The yearly open is pretty much, I know it so well now, pretty much bang on this line here. So we're looking for acceptance above this. It's pretty much 94K is what we want acceptance above. If we start to clear this above the trend, above the yearly open, then I think we gap up to that 100K level. I sound like I'm just flogging a horse here because I'm always talking about this in every video, but it's good to sort of drum these things in so we're all aware. Now you can also see this gold dotted line here. This is a 200 EMA on the 4 hour. 1, 2, and 3 attempts at it, and we've sold off each time. So what I kind of think with this, I want to get rid of the noodle for a sec. Here's how I'm seeing it, right? I think we bracket between these 2 points, but there's kind of an argument here for being short and being long. The argument for being short is the fact that we keep sweeping into the range highs and keep rejecting, and also this 200 EMA, also the daily trend, and yearly open. So a lot of points up there, we do keep rejecting from it. So this says to me we can't accept above value, can't accept outside of value, as in the value area high, for that mark up to establish the next value high, which would be that level I discussed up here. We can actually just draw that quickly. Pretty much the breakdown point, over to where it broke down again, say just before the breakdown. Let's just fix that up, get rid of extend. All right, so we can see our next sort of value area for this composite range up here is roughly up at 100.4K. So when I say 100K, I just mean that region. Anywhere from 100 up until like 104 pretty much is what I'm looking for. Potentially could overshoot that. We overshoot that, we can make another video and discuss what happens then. But anyway, we look for value to be established as it has. Then we look for the inefficient move up, and then it should interact with this value up here, and we see what kind of reaction we get. So I'll get rid of this for a sec. So the bearish case, right? We keep rejecting at these highs. We fail to accept outside of value. This says to me, we potentially can look for the rejection. We get that rotation down, and I'll be looking for the range EQ and also the value area low. We do keep tagging the value area high. The more we fail there, we start to accept on the POC, we can look for that rotation down. That is roughly 87,300. So range EQ, that would still be sort of a bullish move in the sense that we'd still be holding in the premium of the range, even if we came down here. And that would be a full rotation into value. Even if we overshoot it a bit, get back inside, we'd then look for that rotation back to the highs. So there's still trades to be taken here. We don't need to be sort of lining up with one bias, just saying, all right, I'm bullish only, so I'm only going to buy a breakout of this and nothing else. That's not a bad plan. But also, you can take trades. You can take shorts. I'm currently short here, looking for the rotation down to here, where I would look to flip long if we got the right triggers. So there is the rotation to play in this zone. This is roughly 94K down to 87.3. Now, for the bullish case, we've discussed the bearish, right? Failure to accept above. The bullish case, if we just look at this for what it is, if we just go to a line chart, we can see we had a low, we had a high, high low, high high, high low, high high, and now we're sort of diddling in the middle. So if we just look at this for what it is, and you can also just draw I think it was the H12, you've got a pretty clean diagonal line here. We are just trending up. So you can see we started down here, we came retested it, shot back to the highs, retested it here, shot back up, and we've retested it again overnight, and we've obviously had that very bullish reaction. So I'll just leave that on the chart for now. So in my eyes, we're pretty much just forming a compression pattern here. We are just trending up this line. We are sort of capping ourselves at resistance. Now, if I get rid of that for a sec, you can also see, in terms of dynamic levels, we have the 200 EMA on the 4 hour, we have the anchored VWAP. You can see if I just put on the line chart here, we are just bracketing between these 2 points. We're pulling this compression off. Now, one of these sides is going to win. It's going to be the anchored VWAP or it's going to be the 200 EMA. When I say one's going to win, we're going to get that reaction at 200 EMA, which is going to slam it down, or we're going to get that reaction into the anchored VWAP, which is going to push it up. One of them is going to break either way. We just need to sort of play that accordingly. It's all well and good to say you don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'll be completely honest with you. But I have plans for what does happen based on all these different things. Plan 1 would be the breakout above those levels. I'm going to flip long. Plan 2 is to catch a short up here, catch the rotation down into the midpoint. Plan 3 is to catch some sort of long there in the right trigger, targeting the high again, and potentially look for that breakout this time. And then plan 4 is if we start accepting under here, I'm going to be looking for a short back down to the range low at around 80K, which was the bottom we put in. It's always good to have like if this then that mentality about things. Don't get locked into a bias saying you're only short or you're only long. Trades will tell you where they want to go when they react with levels, and it's your job to decide if the trigger suits you to take a trade on it. I think in essence, my favorite setup is going to be a breakout of this level and some sort of consolidation there before the markup to fill the gap. But I'm currently short and I am looking for a move down here, and that's where I'll gauge the next trade. Now, just related to this as well, we sort of had the bull bear thesis for BTC. It's also worth looking at data for this. So this is velo.xyz. It's a free website. It has all different data aggregation for different things in the crypto market. Very handy website to look at and completely free. So, I use this daily in my analysis. What I'm most interested in here is a BTC 3-month average return by day. So we just full screen that. We can see statistically for the past 3 months, Sunday has been the best performing day. So we have been getting those sort of weekend Sunday scam pumps in NY session, and generally they sell off into the Monday, which you can see here. But Friday has actually statistically been the worst performing day. And this sort of gives me more pause for longs and sort of more credence to look at the short side as we come into the range highs, just based on this. Now, it has just clocked over at the time of recording. It's like 1 a.m. in the States right now, so we are in Friday currently. So we just need to sort of see how this day pans out. But I think don't sort of rush into positions trying to front run a breakout because, statistics don't lie here. If anything, I think just sort of wait for the breakout or, even position short if you get a nice trigger for it. All right, Ethereum quickly. I don't know if I discussed this one in the last video, but I've been posting it a lot on Twitter. Make sure you follow my Twitter because I am posting every day, and a lot of the setups in between videos have been very fruitful so far. The link is in the description for that, so check it out. But in terms of where we're sort of looking right now, like this is a pretty clean setup for me. So if we just get the Noodle back, Let's get rid of indicators for a second. So we have this very clean support resistance level here. You can see this was support, flipped into resistance, flipped into resistance. We broke above it, we came down, we sort of retested it. I actually marked this zone out on Twitter the other day, which was this breaker block here. We did find a bottom in there, we printed a nice H1 divergence. Now we're accepting back above this level. I think we're accepting, we just need to give a bit more time, bit of time and space. But you know, this level here at 32.30, as long as we're holding above this, I can see us pushing up to take out this high here and potentially wipe out these stacked highs over here into these equal highs up here at 36.60. So this is a very nice setup when you look at it like this. I also, this is a trade I took in the Miles High Club, by the way, yesterday. Links in the description if you want to join that. And you can see all my daily updates, daily trades, and get access to these indicators I'm using. But that aside, so I posted the trade in here because I really like the convergence of coming down into this level. And also we had the H4 trend and the H4 200 EMA. Now when I get the H4 trend and H4 200 EMA, or just any time frame, when I get the 200 EMA with the trend convergence, that's generally a very high hit rate setup for me, especially when it sort of lines up with the POI, like we have this breaker block here and also this FEG fill. So, you know, we had the divergence that pushed us up. That was a good trigger. And now I just want to see us hold here. I'm not married to sort of coming up to 34.77, this high here. You know, we are filling this inefficiency right now. My sort of first trouble area, if we don't reject there, is going to be up here at the start of this 4-hour supply block. This is 33.20. So, you know, I'm going to set alerts there. Potentially get a rejection there. I might look to take profit in this. Already put my stops in just under my entry. Not in profit yet, but need to see a bit more upside before I can do that. You know, ETH is looking quite constructive. This is a very nice pullback that sort of gave us that entry. And you can also see the trigger it gave to get that pullback. Look at the H4 divergence up the top in the RSI. Came back, reset completely into the band, and now we're pushing up again. So yeah, I'm quite liking ETH at the moment, but I think it really relies upon BTC breaking out above those levels I was discussing. If BTC actually breaks out above here, that's a wrong chart for you guys. If BTC actually breaks out above this area, then I think ETH is going to send. So just keep eyes on that. All right, we'll have a very quick look at some altcoins. FARTCOIN's one I've been discussing a lot. Obviously, it came and swept all these lows overnight, came to the H4 200 EMA, has pushed up quite nicely. If I go to the other chart I have for this, I have many charts across many templates. It's just kind of how I work with these things. I like to get a full picture. This was the chart I shared with you guys last time. We are still looking for that break above the value area high. But you can see the daily trend right now is just supporting price the whole way. So it came down overnight, we retested that again, we swept out some lows, retested daily trend, now we're pushing up again. So, you know, still just looking good. I didn't get a fill at the H12 area I was discussing. If you follow my Twitter, it was down here, H12 order block. I was looking for this final low to be swept into the 0.62, 0.71 golden pocket on the Fibonacci. Then I was looking to add the rest of my position there, but, you know, currently about 60% filled. We just sort of ride with it for now. I really like this if it can break out above this level at 0.414, give or take. Otherwise, we're looking for that pullback into the H12 demand. Now, Hype is another one I quite like because it's coming to the level which I shared with you guys on a video some videos ago. Basically, we have this 70-day composite range over here. I was looking for us to come back and retest this and have some sort of reaction. You can see the next composite range is what we lost. We started rejecting under it, also, it was lining up with the daily trend. Each retest was bearish. But, you know, we have come to that level overnight. What have we done? Had a very nice bounce. So this looks quite constructive to me. It's also like a 4-hour divergence down there. It's not technical, but, you know, you can see the momentum shifting. But we came down. We finally swept into that level, and look at the reaction we had so far. So if Hype does seem to bracket here, maybe gets capped by trend, comes back down, I think this zone in here is where you want to get filled on this. This zone is quite wide. I actually wanted to start building a position here. I just missed it because I was asleep, all the way down to like $25, $24, give or take. Roughly sort of the midpoint of this block here. So that's something I'm watching for now, but, you know, I didn't get the trigger. If this was the bottom and it just sends from here, then I obviously missed that. Is what it is. But this is a level I've marked out for the past few weeks, and it's good to see the reaction there, which shows there is demand there. So if we do get that pullback anywhere around here, I'm going to look to start building that position all the way down to $25, $24. So XMR is the last one I was looking at. This is actually a pretty clean chart. What I was looking for originally was for us to come down. Let's just get rid of the indicators for a sec. I was looking for us to come down on this low here. It sort of front ran this inversion stacked FEG here, the stacked and balance. You can also see there's a very nice gap fill there. Let's just pull up the VWAP for a sec, get rid of the Noodle. You can see this gap fill over here. So it's, you know, small gap under the high volume node. I was looking for us to effectively put in this low here, then come up and then come make a lower low in price with RSI making a higher low. And that would have been a 4-hour bullish divergence into this gap fill. So that was the sort of textbook setup I was looking for. I did not get it. What did I get? I got front run, and it basically left this pair of equal lows here. So if you look at this trade for what it is right now, we have equal highs here. We have equal lows down here. These are both liquidity targets, and these are kind of my favorite range trades because once you get filled on one side, you have a very clean target on the other side. Conversely, if we come here and get a short and a rejection, then I have that target down here. This is what I was saying to you guys before. Always have a if this then that plan. It doesn't matter so much if you miss the long, because you could potentially get that short back down to where you want to take the long and then take the long. So, we have fresh triggers either side. This is pushing up quite nicely, but if we do come down to 360, I'm looking for a long. Conversely, we get up here, I might be looking for a short. I don't know yet, just because we need to see how the broader market looks. But if I get a bearish trigger on a low time frame here, I'll be looking for that short back down to 360. So that'd be like 440 to 360. Other than that, there's not much going on at the moment with altcoins. We just look at the MHC spaghetti indicator. Pretty much the top is the weekly, the bottom is the daily. You can see on the daily, it's a very tight range right now. There's not really anything outperforming. So not many opportunities. I think everyone's being hesitant till we break out of that 94K level for BTC. I think if we do that, then obviously we get some sort of rotation into different altcoins, and we see which altcoin performs on the spaghetti chart, and then we can look to play the rotations there based on whatever shows on the right hand side for that sector. By the way, you can get this indicator in the Miles High Club. Links in the description if you want to check that out. Very handy for intraday and intra-week altcoin rotations, and sort of getting a broader market feel of where everyone's sitting, what their risk appetite is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to make this video too long. I know some of them have been creeping quite heavily above 10 minutes lately. Attention spans are short, but please like, subscribe to the channel. Follow my Twitter if you want to be kept up to date with daily updates from me. And other than that, I'll see you guys in a few days, and thank you for joining. Cheers.